Uja, everyone. Do you have sound? Testing one, two, three. Someone said that they did not have sound. Okay, very well. So we'll begin with a short prayer, and then we'll get right to the meeting. We don't want to let it run too long. O Mamu Rapata. O Mamu Rapata. O Mamu Rapata. O Mamu Rapata. Om Hatep, Hatep, Hatep. Greetings, everyone. This is a information orientation meeting for the proposed upcoming trip to Kemet for the year 2017 that is slated to be carried out in October of this year. And so I guess I would like to go briefly to the website. Let me see if we can get the desktop going. What we'll do is we'll go through some information about the trip, and then we'll open up for questions and answers, and everyone can kind of speak freely, ask any questions. I was going to discuss the trip itself, what we did. We've done trips in the last 2 years, one last year and one the year before, and give an idea of what that was like. And then go to information about the current trip and some changes, and then open up for questions and answers.
Can you introduce Ankh? There are questions to them as well.
Sabaja is here also.
Uja, greetings.
We're not viewed yet. So
Uja, greetings. Thank you all for joining us. I wanted to also introduce Shamsa Kua and also Asar Ankh, who are on the call, and they are facilitating us with this trip as well. They have both been on the trip last year, and so if you have questions for them as well, you're welcome to direct it to them as well. That's it.
Yeah, I'm going to, because it gave me a little message about the quality of the call. I'm going to leave the video off for now, and then when we get through, I will turn it on when we get through the towards the end with the Q&A, just to make sure that there's no issues. Okay, this is the Trip to Kemet website, egyptianyoga.com/trip to Kemet. And here you can find the current information. There's information generally about the program, but I was going to say a few more words about that. So let's go through very quickly. As you see here on the right side, we have a countdown to the time of the trip. It's scheduled for October 12th through the 23rd. It's a 12-day program, so it's 2 days longer than last year's program. And because it includes an extra day in Abdu and an extra day for Cairo.
The reason we're including Cairo is because last year's trip, we did not include Cairo because we wanted to make it, we were trying to make it inexpensive, and we were trying to make it short and inexpensive. So we did not include Cairo, but we found that people who attended and had been to Egypt for the first time really wanted to see the pyramids and the Sphinx. Of course, we understand that, because when you come, home from a trip to Egypt, everyone wants to know, did you go to visit the pyramids and the Sphinx? So they were scrambling at the last minute and the last day to try to see if they can go there somehow, or even a drive-by to see it. So for this trip, we decided to go ahead and add it in. Because we will have actually a day we have to stay in Cairo before returning to the U.S. And so for that day, since we're going to be in Cairo anyway, we decided to go ahead and do that at the Giza, the pyramids and the Sphinx. And Sibama, Dr. Ashby, will lead that. And he has a lot of metaphysical information that he'll share with you about those.
Okay, so the program description is an Egyptian Mysteries Initiation Journey week in Kemet. The main sites to be visited are the Giza Pyramids and the Sphinx, the Karnak Temple, the Luxor Temple, the Heteru Dendera Temple, and extended time stay at the Seti I temple, the Temple of Osiris. The focus of the trip is an initiatic study of the mystic philosophy of ancient Kemet, the Egyptian mysteries philosophy, which is an initiatic mystic tour concept. So it is not so much a sightseeing tour as it is a tour of setting oneself on an initiatic path, and the path that was set out by the ancients. Many people study the ancient Egyptian wisdom and philosophy, and very few strive to follow it as it was outlined. And this particular format of doing the trip is based on the outline that was discovered, that I discovered, that was embedded in the temple architecture and iconography. And so last time it was done in 5 days, so this time it will be done in 6 days to allow a little bit more time. And so the special feature, an intensive 6-day initiatic level study of the Seti, the first temple of Asar in Abdu. There'll be a study of the other temples as well as we go through, but the extended study will be at the Temple of Asar in Abdu, with direct readings and translations of hieroglyph temple inscriptions by Dr. Muata Ashby, and presentations on their mystical and metaphysical applications to achieve effective understanding, to awaken the soul's intuitional capacity to succeed on the spiritual path. Advanced session for returning attendees. So for those who have gone on this particular tour last year, if you decide to attend this year, there'll be an added section for you. The main initiatic sequence does not change, and that in itself actually requires additional study. Even as I explained when I was there, going there and doing the study for months and even years. And so that will be experienced again, and then there'll be additional experience for those who attended last time. There'll be a special session.
So I wanted to just share about this. I was actually last night using my phone that I recorded Dr. Ashby doing a review of most of the temple, what he referred to as the outline, or what I call the pattern. He has the initiatic pattern or sequence of the Seti temple that he had discovered by reading the translating the hieroglyphs. Literally, the spiritual teacher carved in the wall. So I was listening to that sequence last night, and it's really, I guess I was. It inspired me into the feeling of how magical it was, and that this trip should take place. During the course of the stay, as he said, you're going to essentially go on a journey from the teachings of the spiritual birth of the initiate to the attainment of spiritual enlightenment. That is the sequence that he has discovered, and he takes us through this journey. And this is the journey of the initiates in ancient times. So to be in the temple and not just wander around and looking at these, amazing scenes and panels, but to actually go from panel to panel in a sequential manner. And every day we only study a specific focus, so it's not all at once. So it's like daily you're going through this spiritual evolution. And then in the evenings, we're able to have a conversation about it. And to help integrate it. And this year, I think we wanted to try to have, dependent time permitted, a greater focus on the process of integration. of the teaching. So not only just to talk about, recap what we did in the temples, what we saw in the evening sessions, but also we may have some sessions where we have special discussions and integrative and question and answer, and kind of like a discussion counseling session, presentation, all of that wrapped up into one, on specific topics like what does rebirth mean, the serpent power system that's being expressed there, the restructuring that we talk about that you may experience when you come back after the trip, how to integrate it into your day-to-day life when you return. So we might focus a little bit more on a counseling aspect in some of the presentations as well too, which will be like an added feature as well too.
You can say something else?
No, so if we go through and we follow this sequence, this pattern, this outline within the temple, every day you are spiritually evolving yourself through this journey. Of course, you may not attain enlightenment at the end of the 6th day, but you basically know the plan, and you know what the journey is supposed to be like, and you know what you're supposed to be experiencing along the journey, and you know where you are in the journey. And it helps you to spiritually evolve, and to have that, what do you say, fake it before you make it. So you're able to have that experiential, intellectual, spiritual enlightenment process. And then it's for the mind and through your spiritual practice and daily life to manifest that, once you leave there and you continue to, with your spiritual practices. Following this particular sequence as laid out by the ancient sages. That's that. A couple other things I wanted to point out, because we're talking about it being a spiritual journey. And so within our tradition, the Kemetic tradition, the ancient Egyptian tradition, we talk about Hino Theism. So this means that the gods and goddesses are cosmic principles in the universe and within you. So this is not about worshiping anything outside of yourself, but this is about discovering aspects of your own spiritual being. And then the other thing also is that the king, who you will see in a lot of the scenes, who is, when you go to Egypt and you look at the shows in the documentaries they present on the different channels, they always talk about the king is doing this, the king is doing that. Well, the king is representative of the initiate. And if you consider yourself an initiate or a spiritual aspirant, then the king is representative of you, and that is your journey as well too. So it's a mythical and a mystical journey that you will be taken through this experience in the Seti Ua temple in Abydos. That's up.
Okay. Let's just go through the front page of the website, because it has the itinerary, and let's go through that quickly, and then we see a couple of other parts of the website, and then go to the Q&A section. Here there are two links when you get here. It takes you to an article that is actually here as well. It discusses what is different about this trip versus a regular kind of sightseeing tour. And in 2015, we did a kind of hybrid sightseeing tour and a little bit of the initiatic aspect. But due to the times, due to the political times, economic times, due to the condition of climate change and global warming and things that are going on in that way, I decided to intensify the trip in a kind of accelerated learning process, so that it is possible for those who are able and desirous to move along their spiritual practice. Since I think the more conflict there is in the world, people realize that time is limited, and you can't be planning for 10, 20, 30 years, maybe I'll go someday. So the impetus for doing the journey in this way was set up so that there can be a kind of more accelerated and direct teaching and sharing of the wisdom, the philosophy, the metaphysics, the initiatic practice, and so that is what makes this. This is not just a historical kind of tour. It is not just a kind of tour of sightseeing and saying, wow, how wonderful it was and what they were doing, and then come back to your life as if everything's going to be fine, and then you can come back, sometime in the future, or just marvel at how it was, and so on and so forth. This is designed to tap into a kind of monastic and initiatic teaching, as was designed. So it's not just walking through the temples and saying, wow, and marveling at the images, and it's actually getting into it and what it means and what the process that's going on. And step by step going through the sections of the temple that allow us to grow in that way, the way a human being should be able to grow and thrive in life. And so that this article gives you more insight into what I mean by that. And here in this link, there is, it should open into another window. Well, it's opening to the same window. It gives you a video of some impressions of participants of last year's trip. Asara Anka interviewed most, I think, all of the participants, and to get an idea of their impressions. So these are sections of what they said, because actually it was turned out to be a long time, but they try to take sections of some of the things that were said. So you can go back and check that out for those of you who did not attend, so you can get an idea of what the experience was like and the benefit from it.
Also, if you I'll go forward a little bit. Shamsaku, I think, is maybe the third or fourth person on here who is she's facilitating us with the trip, and she went in 2015 and she went in 2016 as well. So she gave a good feedback of what was the difference between the two trips. So if you went in 2015 and you're wondering how this one might be different, this is going to be more like a 2016. And so she gives actually a good comparison. She enjoyed both of them, but she talked about what this one, the initiatic one, intensive one, how that was different, and in what ways it was different. So give you greater insight. And there's probably some other aspirants who spoke about that as well too, but she spoke about both trips.
Okay, so you can go and check that out, especially for those of you who are new.
And even if you're not new, even if you went on the trip last year, and you haven't seen these interviews, they're very good.
See how other people experience as well.
And if you did go on the trip and you were interviewed, you want to hear what even you said back then as your experience on the ground in the moment, and see where you are now.
Okay, let's start with just a brief overview of the itinerary. Day one is departing from the USA, and if other people are coming from, say, Europe or something like that, it'll be a departure day. And day two is arrival. And then we arrive in Cairo, but we will be only stopping there. Ricky Rollins, I think if you can't hear anything, I suggest that you re-log in, because I think we checked before and other people were able to listen okay.
Is everyone else hearing okay? You can also try to calling. you use the phone and call in, sometimes that might be better. You can hear, but you can actually look visually and then use your phone to listen to it.
Yeah, I'll say try logging in first. Try logging out and then logging in again.
Katie's on phone.
Okay, very well. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so on day 3, on day, sorry, on day 2, we arrive and we go straight to Luxor.
I don't know if Sandy can't hear. He probably can't hear all the things we just told him to log on and we have to type it in for him.
I can't get to excuse me. I can't get to my text part. Can someone write for Ricky Rollins to go ahead and log out and log in again? And if that does not work, to go ahead and call in while he's looking at the picture. So on day 2, we arrive in Cairo and we go straight to Luxor. And in that same evening, we begin the tour by visiting the Luxor temple, and that's where really there's going to be initiatic teaching even from there, and that's actually going to be preparing us to go to the final temple. Day 3, while in Luxor, visit the temple of Amun at Karnak in the morning, and then in the evening, visit the temple of Amun at Luxor. I think we had either the I'm not sure if we had the temple of Luxor or the museum for that, but we'll be clarifying that as well, because we have it listed twice. So visiting Luxor and Karnak, a little information there, and this is a pic. These are actual picture of us there. This is 2015. Day 4, visiting the Dendra temple on the way to the temple of Asar in Abdu. So we'll be transferring to Abdu from Luxor, and on the way we'll be stopping at the temple of Heteru at Dendra, and we'll be staying there for an extended time.
Right. So last year we didn't get to stay there for an extended time because we got there a little late because I think did Karnak in the morning. So this time we're trying to reserve that day mostly for travel to Dendra, so we can get there early and have time in the temple, more time in the temple.
And for there, we really need like at least 3 hours. There's another picture. I think this is 2015 also. And on day 5, the Initiatic seminar begins.
In Abydos.
That's where we are in Abdu with the Temple of Asar. And the Temple of Asar, you can read what it has here, but essentially the Temple of Asar is extremely special because it's one of the best preserved temples in Kemet. And not just the structure itself, but the iconography and the temple inscriptions. And that is what afforded the opportunity to discern or discover the special initiatic sequence. The initiatic sequence is a path that is set forth by the temple scripture and iconography, and also the temple architecture itself. It is a pathway of a journey in which the human being is made over, as it were, or restructured, reborn. You can use all those words, from a human being to a royal personality, and finally a divine entity. And so we follow that sequence. Every day we will go through a particular section of the temple that covers a particular sequence, a particular facet of the sequence. Everything from becoming a worthy aspirant through Matian service to having a reconstructed body by the divine, and purifying that body and controlling the lower forces, and doing a reset, as it were, going to the source and resetting and restructuring the cosmic forces, the Neteru, through the chapels, and then having a spiritual rebirth, and that's the final section. And this is the initiatic journey that was practiced by our ancient ancestors. And I have not found anywhere that the sequence has been recorded or discovered by Egyptologists and so on and so forth. Where hopefully we'll be having a book coming out on it before too long. And also there's going to be as you know, there'll be a website that will be recreating that journey for those who have gone, for those who cannot go. It will be using a 360-degree 3D imagery. So, and that is coming along. It looks like we're talking about June for the inauguration of that. So we'll see. Looking at a couple of pictures here of the temple. And this is us again. This is a picture of a lecture. This is one from one of our conferences, but to give an idea that, and I think there's some pictures further down here, that this is the kind of thing that we'll be doing in the evening. So in the daytime, we'll be actually looking in the temple and looking at the inscriptions and spending extended time, not just walking through from beginning to end, like within an hour, but we'll be actually spending extended time in particular sections and in front of particular panels daily. And this is the hotel that we'll be staying at in Athens. This is the outside, and this is the inside.
That's a pool.
So the swimming pool with the on.
And it's in the shape of a keppa.
So I want to point out that the tile work that they did, and I haven't noticed the shape of the pool itself. Okay. This is a conference room at the hotel where we'll be having the evening meetings. So in the morning there will be a intensive study at the temple, and then in the evening there will be a kind of a review of what was learned. So it's like a double whammy, where you go through and then you go through again to reinforce it and bring it out.
And also during the day there'll be interspersed. There'll be the Jeff Neteru Egyptian exercise postures for those who want to do that, and there'll be works, the devotional worship sessions that we currently do. Those will be interspersed throughout the program as well too.
Yeah, I was going to say a couple of words about the
and
program.
Devotional singing and chanting as well too, and meditation.
So this is 6 days of intensive study at the Temple of Asar.
This is the temple.
This is one of the rooms. Actually, this is the. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say. This is again outside the Temple of Asar. As I said, there will be a ritual practice. There will be music.
The program,
there will be singing, there will be meditation.
The program, before we leave Abydos, the program culminates in a ritual. We'll have like a small ritual, likely using the hotel site. The hotel has very beautiful iconography, so likely there, so we are undisturbed and we can have the ritual the way we want it. So we'll be visiting the Giza, the pyramid, the Horamaket.
And the last day, right, we leave Abdu and we go to, the day before last, we go back to Cairo. And then in Cairo, we'll be visiting Giza. And we'll be, I think if we go this time, I didn't go last time or the time before. I'll probably be going into the pyramid and showing a couple of things. And of course, we'll be looking closely at the Sphinx and the water damage that now dictates that the Sphinx is at least 12,000 years old. We'll be looking at a ruined Temple of Aset that is there that we did not show last time. We will be looking at we'll be walking. This is part of the series that I just did, the chapter 44, where we're looking towards the north. So we'll be walking south in the Giza area and looking towards the north at the especially if we stay till later or in the evening. In the evening, they don't let you go walking around, but we'll at least have during the day a look towards the north, as we did in chapter 44. And we'll also take a look around at the if there's time, the workers' cemetery area and the other parts of the cemetery area, because the Giza is, as I said before, is a netherkurt, and that is a cemetery. A netherkurt is, as we said before, is like a launch pad of the spirit, of the soul, to launch it into spirit consciousness, and that's what the pyramids are all about. And if we have time, in 2015 I did a lecture about the pyramids, and I was going to try to put that on the new Kemet television, and we'll be maybe talk about that at that time also. Again, we'll do a reprise of that lecture. And these are the costs for this trip. This trip does include air, and air out of New York, as you see down here.
Can you make the letters bigger?
Just here on the screen.
Will it open it?
And for single supplement, 400. For those who are coming, like from Europe, from UK or something like that, there'll be a different price. So you should inquire about that. For those who are Shemsu or who are Temple Initiates, Temple Affiliates, you should inquire about a discounted price. And it includes air from New York, all the hotels, all the transfers. It also includes tips, includes the seminar program.
So if you're interested, we do have a payment plan option. You can communicate with Shem Zakua about that. We have the email address above, Kemet Mystic Tours at gmail.com. We suggest if you can do a deposit by the end of this month of around $500, and then monthly payments. The final balance is due August 1st, 2017. So the final payment must be made by August 1st, 2017. As far as the tips, so the tips are in Egypt are called bakshish, and we have been including those after our first trip. For example, last year we included that as part of the fee. Otherwise, most excursions, most trips do not have that included as part of the fee. That's something separate that you pay on a daily basis. And like for our first trip, we were not even alerted to it. So it was something when people, our attendees got there, then they were told by the tour guide, oh, you have to pay these tips to these people. So we just include it as a part of the fee. There might be tips if someone does something for you in the airport or in the hotel, or you order something to room service, like that's extra. But as far as the general tip in that is expected at the sites or at the hotels and things like that, we have included it in here. And then we have the those who are handling the guiding, they take care of that. So this way, you still may be bothered a little bit, because that's the the culture and the expectation. But generally speaking, we were not accosted tips all along the way. So you're able to have a more peaceful and relaxing and enjoyable time. So that is included in here also.
Okay, so you can go here.
The only thing I think it doesn't include is the visas, right? And it doesn't include it does not include airfare from wherever you live. If you do not live in New York, it does not include airfare from wherever you live to New York. The flight leaves, I think, around 6:30 p.m. or something like that. So it is recommended that you would catch a flight to New York, and you should be there at least 5 hours, minimum 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours before the trip leaves from Egypt Air leaves. So probably I think that's like around 1 o'clock, 5016, around 1 o'clock, latest 2 o'clock, because we did have 1 year, some of the group got in there late and they missed the flight because it was bad weather from where they were departing from. And they got there late, they missed the flight, and it was a little bit, it was very difficult because Egypt it does not have agreements with any other group, any other airlines. So they are not required to actually even set you up on another flight. And initially, I think they wanted to charge them for, like a full fee. At least in Egypt, that's what they told us that they would have to do. They would have to pay a full airfare fee again from New York to Egypt. Fortunately, that didn't occur, but they did have to pay a little bit of an extra fee to be able to get on the next flight the next day and come, and then they barely made the connection to us. So it was very, it was a lot of commotion, and so so just make sure that you get your flight there at least 5 or more hours even before the Egypt Air flight, so that you don't have to go through that if there's any delays. And then also, I think meals. We do 2 meals per day. If you have any condition or medical condition and that's not enough for you, we do recommend you can get like a meal. What is it called? I think we have it on here. A supplement, so you can get an extra, so you can pay extra. That would be extra if you want. I think it's $120 extra if you require like 3 meals a day. Otherwise, we do 2 meals. We're going to try to work it out with the time, and we really go with the group feeling of it. Like probably we'll do like a very early meal before we go to the temple, and then probably this time around we're going to do an early dinner. So probably like maybe around 6:30 or 7 for breakfast, and then probably like around 4 p.m. or something maybe for the meal. So we'll see. And we also recommend you bring supplements. If you take supplement, green drinks, bring your powders, bring your protein smoothies that, get the little cups, the shaker cups and things like that. Whatever you need for your personal needs, we recommend you bring those as well. The food is going to be vegan, but it's mostly in some of the hotels, like in Luxor, Cairo, there are more vegetables, but in Abydos, there's not a lot of variety as far as vegetables. We're going to have fruit plates daily. I think we're going to have 1 or 2 fruit plates daily throughout the whole trip. I can't remember 1 or 2. And to ensure that we get our fruit. And then also in Abydos, there's it's more like cucumbers, tomatoes, and then kind of something that's a little bit like some kind of greens, and I can't remember the name at the time. But there's a little bit of salad that we were able to get there. I think we're going to try to do the day we're going to the pyramids. We're going to try to, we'll have 1 extra meal that day because we're going to be flying into Cairo, and then we're probably going to leave directly from the airport to go to the pyramids. So we're probably going to either stop somewhere for lunch, or have them have a hotel make us box lunches, and then we can just pick up the box lunches from the airport, and then go directly to the Sphinx, so we can have more time at the Sphinx, because if we have to go to a restaurant to eat and all that, it's going to take time away from the Sphinx. So we might just get a box lunch, go to the site, see the sites, and then after the site, go back to the hotel, refresh ourselves, check in, refresh ourselves, and then have dinner, and then just relax and be ready for coming back to the USA the next day. We're probably going to do some shopping that after too. Yeah, we're probably going to be doing some shopping after the pyramids. We have to see with the tour guides what times things are open. And I think in the past trips we have not made it to shopping very well, so we usually shop wherever we have the opportunity in the limited time that we have the opportunity. So we'll try to see if we can expand that a little bit. The payment plans, make sure friends and family transfer.
There has been a suggestion for a payment plan, and
I mentioned that, but I'm saying just to tell them that mainly do the payment through PayPal. Make sure
you talked to them already.
Yeah.
Okay. So then you can send.
For the payment plan, you can email the email address, and Shamsaku will update you on the payment plan.
Right, and so just it can be sent to PayPal as friends and family transfer, and then they won't charge you commission, or you can send a check or money order.
Right. So the main thing is if you do it through PayPal, to do it as friends and family, so they do not have that charge on there.
There's a registration package that you can access, and this gives you some information and contacts for the trip. You can send information there. There is a link. This talks more about the food and the air travel, lodging, what to bring. You go here to the link, and it'll link you to a registration packet. And you can read that and go ahead and fill it out and send it back in.
Right. We also recommend that you get the insurance, travel insurance. Actually, we don't recommend it. We require it. We require the travel insurance. You have to get travel insurance. So that also is an extra fee that you get. However, we requested that you not get the travel insurance until we're within 55 days of the trip. Because in case there's anything that occurs between now and then, any cancellations, because then I don't think the travel insurance will refund you your fee for the travel insurance. So don't pay for the travel insurance until we are within the 55-day margin before the trip. Right. Just because, or you can inquire if they, will refund you the cost of the travel insurance. I don't know that they will once you purchase it. So just to be safe, just wait until 55 days until we have a clear go ahead. If something occurs like with terrorism or something like that, or the State Department, then I believe, I believe then if there's any, if we have to cancel based on that, then I think things are refunded. Anyway, we have all the details in there. You can read. As far as safety, there's no guarantee with anything here or there. When we are there, we feel when we are there as our group, we tend to feel pretty safe there.
We're probably more in danger here than over there.
We always joke over there, the police shoot at the terrorists or whoever they perceive as over here, they might shoot us. So a joke.
Yeah,
but
a real joke.
Over there, the security protect us. Generally safety, we that's why we've been doing it, because we've wanted to do these trips like for years, and we even like started many and then we canceled because of safety issues and things that were going on. But in these past few years, we have felt pretty safe about going with our contacts there, and also we are kind of doing a strategic trip to minimize any issues. For example, we're not staying in Cairo very long, as you notice. We're just kind of like, we come into Cairo to leave for the USA, and that overnight we'll do a Cairo visit. Luxor, we have not had any issues in, and we feel pretty safe there. There were some things years ago, but, we have not had any issues. We haven't had any security. We will have a security person with us on, throughout the trip on the bus with us. And then also, in Abydos, it has been very safe for us there. Pretty much, the temple is like equivalent of 2 blocks away from the hotel. You can see the temple from the hotel, and there are guards that pretty much are the guardhouse is like right there. And so between like the hotel and the temple, it's just like lined with guards. So it's very safe. Even women can go walking by themselves. The temple closes at 5, so there's no need to go walking by yourself after 5. And it's light, it's still at 5 p.m. So women can go walking by themselves to the temple. Of course, we recommend that you partner with someone and you let someone know if you're going. So, we know everybody's whereabouts for safety. Because it's in Abydos, our contacts there are able to kind of speak to the people in the temple, so they're not kind of bugging us all the time for tips and bakshish, so they kind of leave our group alone. And then, at the end, because again, we pay the tips automatically, they will arrange and give whoever, the people in the temple the tips.
As long as I was gonna wait till the end, but as long as Sibaja broached the subject of the security and cancellations, and in years past, we have given the caveat that the trip may be canceled due to terrorism or economic collapse or disaster. Like something like what happened in 2008 or something like that. And for this year, I'm adding a couple of other reasons, and not to go into much detail, but basically, if there's a climate collapse for any reason, as you know, I've talked about this previously, of a possible climate collapse, and the reasons that I've given for the caveat of that. And also, those of you who may know that we ourselves have had a illness in the family, and things seem to have stabilized in that way. But something can always happen there. So if there's a reason for cancellation for that reason, we would let everyone know. So those would be the 4 reasons why there might be a cancellation. Of course, we would not want anyone to be going into an unsafe situation and all that. And even though we were joking earlier about the safety issue in the United States versus over there, that was sort of a joke. But the way I like to say this, in every joke, there's a little bit of truth. And you know why I say that. Okay, so you can fill out the registration form, send it out, make sure you have your passports in order, and send your deposit so we can hold the spot and we can know who is going. And this gives you a short overview also of the itinerary. The arrival day, going straight to Luxor, Luxor Temple in the evening, Karnak.
I don't think we were planning to go to Luxor Temple in the evening. That's the thing, because by the time we get in there, everyone's going to be tired. I think we were just going to take it easy. If people didn't want to go on their own to the temple, we can do that. But we were planning really for Karnak and Luxor Temples the following day.
Well, it's just that
it's more like just dinner, relax, unwind, because it's going to be a long trip, and then we're actually going from Cairo to Luxor directly. So
okay, yeah. And then day 4 travel on the way to Abdu. We stop in Dendra, and then we arrive in Abdu in the evening, and the initiatic portion of the program starts for the next 6 days, and then day 11 transfer to Cairo, and going straight to the Giza area, the pyramids and the Sphinx, and then the next day is a departure from Cairo, going back to wherever home is, wherever I didn't say your home. You're leaving your home and going to your residence.
We're going to replace that with this from today.
Yeah, I guess we could. This is So we'll be. This is the orientation from last year. So we'll be putting this video from today in here. Some more of the sample accommodations. You can see all these pictures there. So I'll just run through them quickly here.
That's our dining area. Is the area where our rooms will be?
This is like kind of the area of the temple, of the hotel reserved for spiritual groups and for meditation groups. So we'll have hopefully this whole section to ourselves.
If we have enough people.
This is in Dendra from 2015.
That's her.
And this is Luxor. Or is it... No, actually, I think this is Efuya.
Which we...
Okay, so you can look over for more details.
I don't think I want to say something.
So I'm going to open up the webinar for Q&A, so you can ask questions.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
So I was going to ask Asar Ankh and Shem Sakua if they wanted to say a few words, because they're helping with the organization of the trip as well.
What do they have to do to unmute themselves? Or...
You can press *6 to unmute yourself. Before they speak, I was actually going to add a couple of things that I meant to say, but I had on my list that I did not say. Those of you who experienced the program, there were a couple of things that were going to be added to the Initiatic program. There's going to be one of the things that I wanted to add, and I was discussing with Sepaja. She has a couple of ideas that she wanted to add. The Initiatic sequence, that does not change. And so we're not talking about that. That's set by the temple, and that cannot change. And the teaching there. What is going to change is the servicing, or the support section for the Initiatic program. And what I was wanting to add there, this chapter that I just did in the lecture series, the chapter 44, the Perdam Haru, I wanted to add that. Actually, I was thinking about that even since last time, but I didn't have a chance to go through the chapter and decipher everything and all that. It is a witnessing consciousness meditative practice, and I'll discuss more of the details of the reasons why. Just to say that it is a practice for being able to maintain presence of mind, and to be able to channel the temple energies in a way that leads to enlightenment, as opposed to delusion, or to not necessarily delusion, but to flights of fancy and things of that nature. Also, it ties in to a final section that will be added to the sequence that I'll be discussing, that is related to the wisdom of Amun. And so there's a dual reason for adding that practice in there. Another idea that I was having that I thought might be useful is, we have not done this for many years. We did this several years ago, was to have a men's and women's meeting. And Sebajak can lead the women's and I lead the men's, and I'll explain the reasons for that at a different time. So we'll have that during the Initiatic Week, and then there will be an earthing practice as well, and earthing will be a kind of practice of grounding, along with the concept of the Father Asar, who is Geb, and we're going to be discussing the reasons for doing that as well. And along with that, for the most of these things will be done at the hotel. They will not so much be done at the temple itself. Will be done on the hotel property and in our privacy. And Sebaja will be also having some additions to the support aspect of the teaching as well. Like I think she started talking about before. You want to give more details there?
So, well, we have to integrate it with the time, because I think also there might be some other programs. I think Akua wanted to have some programs on the like an introduction to the worship and things like that. So these ideas will all be integrated in the course of the stay in Abydos, and we'll come out with like a program. But as you can see, as with our programs, it'll be intensive, but hopefully you'll have enough time to relax there, because the temple, I said, is 2 blocks away. The hotel's right there. They take good care of us. The rooms are very nice. So hopefully it'll be a nice blend of activity and rest.
And we intend to, like we did last time, to leave time in the afternoons. There'll be, morning will be occupied with the intensive study, and then in the early evening. Although we're not intending to let it go quite as late as it did last time, but
we also may have some afternoon workshops as well too this time around on a couple of the days.
Okay, so that covers the program, and so you can get an idea of what will be done. You can go look at the impressions from the people who attended to get an idea. Those of you who did not attend last time, and those of you who attended, you have an idea of kind of the direction that it's going in. Okay, so Sir Ankh, if you'd like to say a few words, and Shemsakua. Ashens Baket has a question. What is the minimum requirement of attendees needed for the trip to be a go?
We don't have a minimum number of attendees that we have determined. Sibaman, I guess we're asking that question. So we do not have a minimum number currently set for the trip to be a go. Right, we have a maximum. The maximum to be able to, because maximum is kind of determined by the, 2 things. The quantity of people. We don't want like large groups, because then the temple will be overwhelmed by that. and you won't get the quality of if you have to be all the way in the back and all that, so we don't want the temple to be overwhelmed. So we are limited to like about 35 to 38 persons. Depends on if everyone gets a single supplement. And then also for the more, we usually like to try to get that area in the sacred space reserved for our group. And the more people we have going, the more likelihood there is to do that. The hotel is becoming more popular, and more people are. The hotel is becoming more popular. Pooja?
No, not yet. Let's turn on the camera.
Pooja? The hotel is becoming more popular. So they are a little bit space limited. Basically, the hotel, they built it, and then that's when Egypt went into that crisis because of all that they went through in the past few years. So then the economy really suffered, and the hotel was there kind of languishing. So there's an airport nearby. So actually the hotel is taking contracts with the airport workers that basically almost like live there on a regular basis. So they take up a certain number of rooms. And so that leaves other rooms for buses and stuff. And tourism has picked up a little bit again coming in. It leaves little rooms. So usually we're able to get to that whole sacred area in the back by ourselves. And we're hoping to be able to negotiate that again. Definitely at least for the day of our ritual. And the more people we have, the more able we are to secure that area in the back. So we don't have a minimum requirement of attendees for the trip to go as yet. Shamsbaka, we're not really focusing on that at this time. And do for your comment about the peacefulness that is there in Abdu.
It's a very special location, and the temple is just really, it's probably the best, it's the best preserved of all the temples. I think arguably maybe comparing with Dendra when they finish all the cleaning. Except that the Temple of Asar is special because it comes from the New Kingdom, Middle Kingdom era, and the Temple of Dendra, what is left of it, is more from the late period. And so the earlier period is a kind of pure teaching and also more easily accessible. So it's important for all those reasons. And the iconography, the artistry is at the level of high art that is comparable to any art that you might find in any museum around the world. It's just fantastic. Scripturally, architecturally, iconographically, it's just, there's no comparison, it seems like.
And I guess if, with the situation here in the U.S. from like almost seems like day to day, I think to get away for a little bit from this madness and to immerse oneself in the most sane thing that one can do to facilitate one's spiritual journey will be a great spiritual, I guess, a personal spiritual, I don't want to say boost, but kind of boost and practice and experience. We are taking this trip sort of a kind of like a day-to-day type of year-to-year type of, we would like to make it like an annual process, but with the current political climate, I guess, relative to, the Muslim world, we are kind of, we're doing this one and we want to get this one done. Will we do more after this? We're not really sure. We did plan also to go again 2018, but it depends on, as Sebama said, what's going on with the political climate, the environmental climate, the economics, so many factors. So I don't want to say that if you want to go on it, try to go on this one because it might be the last. But that's a possibility, just to let you know. We would like to be able to do it again next year, but even for this one, we had discussions back and forth as to if to go ahead and do it this year. And we decided to move forward with doing it this year because this is the purpose of life. What else is there to do here in the US of A? If this is our focus, if we have a Kemetic, if Buddhism is your thing, then that's fine. You can do Buddhism. If Hinduism, yoga, Indian yoga system is your thing, then that's fine. You can do that. But if Kemetic yogic spirituality is your thing, then you've read about the studies in the temples. You've read about other people having past life experiences in the temples, memories that they remember. But what about you being able to actually go to a temple and have a spiritual experience, but not just a spiritual experience, a succinct kind of like the whole journey in a nutshell? Because it would be nice to go there as they did in even like the Greeks did in ancient times for 40 years and spend 40 years there. But that is not the time frame we are in. This is not the historical time period we were in. We're in this like sped up time, frame here where we have, a million things to do and not enough time to do it in, and we're always on the run. But why not take oneself out of this process and go to that space and actually experience what the initiates experience for ages within their own spiritual developmental process, and allow those teachings to help you on your spiritual path and your spiritual journey towards spiritual enlightenment in this lifetime. So I would encourage those who are thinking about going on the trip to consider going. Follow your heart, of course, but to consider, going. That's how.
Okay, Shamsa Reed had a question there quickly.
Sarang, I think, is trying to say something.
Oh, okay. We'll go back to the Q&A. Sarang, go ahead.
Uja. I think you wanted me to say a few words at this point. Is that right?
Me?
Okay. First and foremost, dua to you, Selama and Sebaja, for doing it again, for doing this in the first place, and for bringing the wealth of knowledge that is Kemetic spirituality forward to those of us who are seekers of the way in this time. I would say that it was an honor for me to participate in last year's process. It was transformative, and all the words that we can use to describe our movement from kind of one level of being to another. It definitely was fulfilling in every sense of the word. So I want to just say to those who might be considering this at this time that these trips or this type of trip, essentially a sacred pilgrimage, usually comes at great cost and sacrifice and all those things, because that's the nature of the spiritual journey. To me, from my own personal experiences, enlightenment is not something that comes easy. It comes with sacrifice and discipline and those things. And that is to say that a journey like this, where you're gathering with like minds in such a condensed, spiritually condensed atmosphere, is profound, to say the least. And it's a way of catalyzing and accelerating your own journey, particularly giving, like Sebajar was saying, about the times that we're living in right now. There's a lot of concerns, from kind of a worldly standpoint about the political climate, not even as much in the Islamic world as it is in America in relation to the Islamic world. So right now, there's a lot of things that are happening that are affecting both sides of the world in that sense. So I just want to encourage people on the call that if you are considering it, and it's a huge step, it's a big step, But if you do make the step, the choice, and the decision, and the sacrifice that it takes to be there, I promise you that rewards far outweigh what it takes to make it happen. So I just want to encourage everybody online for that, to do that and consider that. A tap.
Go ahead, Tab.
Yeah, a tap. Shamsakua, you want to say a few words?
Uja, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Oh, okay, Uja. Well, first of all, Dua, Sebaman, Sebaja, for being what I consider conduits of the teaching. Definitely appreciate you facilitating and making this possible. Going to Egypt for the first time 3 years ago was with you, and last year was with you as well, and I definitely appreciate it. I would say, for me, and to encourage anyone out there that's listening, that it is in our culture, in our African culture, it's very important to go back to the source of what we believe in or what we practice, and having the teachings on the walls and having someone that understands and is able to decipher it is priceless. I don't think I can put a price on that. It was like sitting in the temple every day and having millions of books on the walls. Everywhere you turn, one glyph could be a book. It was definitely phenomenal to have that level of iconography and that level of teaching, to be in the presence of that type of energy. It's priceless. And I would encourage anyone out there that have the capacity to go, definitely to make this pilgrimage. And definitely Dua for being on the webinar as well with us. We appreciate that. And just to let you know that I am available for any questions as long as I can answer it to my capacity. My phone number is there and the email address is there, and whatever I can do to facilitate or to make the trip for you a seamless one, I'd be more than happy to. So reach out to me with any questions or comments or anything like that. I'm definitely available to anyone that wishes to speak to me. Dua Hata.
Okay, do a hint.
If anyone wants to make comments or questions.
Yeah. If anyone wants to make any comments or questions, you can either write them in a text chat or you can press *6 and unmute and speak. Okay, just shows. I read first. If someone wants to spend time in Aswan, the trip this particular trip is designed so that it includes air, so the flight's on particular days. So it for someone going with the package, it doesn't really allow extra time. We can inquire with Egypt Air if that's possible. I don't know that that's possible. It would probably mean having to do a completely separate arrangement. So we have to consider that. So we have to get back on that.
Well,
Uja, you have a question or comment?
yeah, Uja, Salma.
Greetings. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm on a webinar. I just want to know where to sign up and what's the date, destination date. And I just want to say greetings to everyone.
Right, so October 12th, and so the next step to do is to go to. Well, you can call.
You can go to EgyptianYoga.com and trip on. That's the easiest thing to do on the trip to Kemet, and then it takes you there.
Right, you can. The easiest thing might be calling. Call Shizakua. She can help you get arranged, and otherwise go to EgyptianYoga.com. The same website that we showed before. EgyptianYoga.com/trip to Kemet.
Even easier, you can go to just EgyptianYoga.com, our regular website, and then a pop-up will come up for the trip, and then just click on the pop-up, and it'll take you to this website. So if you just go to the
EgyptianYoga.com, it'll take you there also, yeah. But it's good to hear from you.
As far as the advanced sessions, Shams Bucket, yes, the 2015 would be able to attend. They would be grandfathered in because I knew that question would come up.
I wasn't thinking about that question.
And I knew we would not be able to say no. So the answer is yes. I've been including that in there. Yes, me.
All right. I believe Katie is on the call as well. I wanted to greet you and thank you for coming and sharing with us today. I see there's a number of people on. If anyone else would like to have any comments or questions about the trip. One thing that I've mentioned before that we're doing, and I don't have it queued up here on the website to show you again, but I did a separate webinar on it, I think at the last fall. This Initiatic Temple sequence is going to be made into a book, and it's going to be also a website for those who have attended, as well as those who have not been able to make the trip, to give the closest thing to the experience of being there, and also augmenting and expanding the teaching, the original teaching of the sequence. The sequence itself is a set teaching, and from there, all from the glyphs, from the scripture that is in each section of the temple that goes through the sequence, the teaching is expanded. And what I'm planning to do in the book is to expand it there and in the website. But the website is going to be more of an interactive, experiential kind of process that is concentrated on. You'll be able to put goggles, onto your computer, and you'll be able to see yourself there in 3D, in 360 degrees, spherical experience where you can feel yourself in the room. And that's kind of the first stage of, well, actually, this is the second stage. We're doing the first stage right now, which is webinars. And the second stage of virtual education, virtual ED, is being able to have this virtual experience where you can put on goggles and you can, we have special 360-degree images of the rooms. So it's like being there in person. And that's the next level we're going to this year with the program that's starting this year. And so those who go, they can continue their studies by going there to the website. Those who have not gone to the temple itself, you can go there and begin and continue your studies. That's what it's designed for. So if we were never able to go again, we still have that virtual temple. And level 3, that is planned if there is time and if there is a year 3 to do it in, next year to do it in, is to not just have the experience of being able to go in the room and feel yourself in the room and be able to look at the panels and click on them and see a lecture or see a detailed image, glyph by glyph and translation, that kind of thing. The next level beyond that is to be able to actually be able to meet like we're doing now, but actually meet in that virtual room. That's the next level. And already it's being done at some high-end universities and some high-end places, and it looks like it's coming down to the level of affordability where we will be able to do that eventually as well. So that's the kind of the plan for the virtual Kemet University online. So it to work hand in hand with the actual physical trips, and that's the plan. And those of you who are on now, hopefully you have time, you can come down to the inauguration of the Kemet television as well. We're going to have a replay of the Chapter 44 webinar that was played earlier, but we'll have a live chat at the same time as the video is playing as well. And so you're invited to that. That's going to be at 3 p.m. Okay, any other final questions or comments before we conclude? Okay, Katie had to leave. Okay, very well. If there are no questions or comments, we'll go ahead and conclude. To you all for wanting to help humanity this way. Yeah, like I said before, it's for those who are able and who have the capacity to access the teaching, because not just because it's available, it's open to everyone. You have to have certain level of maturity, a certain capacity financially, which means that you have certain stability in your life. Because just people just going, without the capacity and preparation and maturity, it would not be so helpful for them as it would for others. Okay, we'll go ahead and conclude then. And like I say, hopefully at time we will see you at the 3 p.m. Kemet television.com. Om Amu Rapata.
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 Om Pata Pata Pata.
Om Pata Pata Pata.